This is the second part of your modulation. Let me bring the laser pointer, and the topic is your amplitude modulation. So as we know that communication is basically, we have to use a carrier which will carry the information from one point to another. So we have a baseband communication and carrier communication. So the baseband communication basically is the baseband signal or the original message signal, means the information you want to transmit is transmitted without any modification. So it's basically the original signal which you want to transmit, or the information which we want to transmit from one side to another. Like for telephony, we use frequencies in the range of 0 to kilohertz. So the frequency is very low. So in order for this information to travel from one place to another, we need to have some carrier. So this signal cannot be transmitted through radio link or wireless medium due to its low frequency. The antenna length will be required will be very high. Wired medium is used for communication, and each user has its own wired link to send receive information, twisted pair or coaxial cable. So in order for this to be transmitted, we used a wired medium. As we know that in landline phones we used the wires to carry the information from one point to another, or you can say from one phone to one telephone to another telephone. So basically, if there is no wired medium, then we need to have some way by which we can carry the information from one place to another. And it's not possible to provide a dedicated connection between all the users in the world which are using the mobile communication nowadays. So that's why the term mobile is there, so that you can carry it anywhere and you can still be connected to the network. So for those purpose we use carrier modulation is used in carrier communication. So it's basically carrier signal is used to carry the baseband signal for longer distances, or you can say the message is transmitted with the help of a carrier signal. Like we need a carry bag to take things from one place to another. Like we have a carry bag for a laptop because you want to carry it from one place to another. Like we use a car which basically work as a carrier for us if we want to travel from one place to another. So we are basically the information, and we sit in the car, and the car takes us from one place to another. So carrier signal does not contain any information. It's like an envelope. So it's basically that you want to send a letter, then you put it inside an envelope, and then you send the letter from one place to another. Depending upon type of modulation used, amplitude, frequency and phase of carrier signal is modified. So depending upon the modulation type you are using. In amplitude modulation, amplitude of the carrier is modified according to the baseband signal. So basically the first thing which we do is in amplitude modulation is double sideband. So we send the information in the form of double sideband. As we go through the chapter, we will understand what the double sideband mean here. So in an AM, I'm using an abbreviation as AM for amplitude modulation. It's defined here. Amplitude AC, it's A subscript C of the carrier unmodulated signal AC cos omega CT plus phi is varied in proportion to the baseband signal, also known as modulating signal. So there are some terms which are mean same, but they are written sometime with different names. Modulating signal, baseband signal, message signal always means the information you want to transmit. So this is the same word for baseband signal, or you can say the message you want to send from one place to another. Carrier is the one which carries the information. So now what happens is that with respect to this baseband signal, the amplitude of the carrier is varied. So the changes comes inside the carrier signal, not in message signal. But the changes inside the the carrier signal comes due to the baseband signal. So we made changes in carrier signal. Message signal remains same, but the changes inside the carrier signals are with respect to the baseband signal. So that's why the another name of it is modulating signal, because this signal is changing the other signal, means it's bringing the change inside the this signal. The frequency omega c and angle phase phi c are constant when we are using amplitude modulation. So phi c is 0 for loss of generality without so we are defining it here. So you can say that AC is proportional to MT. The modulated carrier, or we can say modulated signal, is MT cos omega CT. If we use Fourier transform property of frequency shifting, we know MT Fourier transform is M omega, capital M omega. Then MT cos omega CT will be, the Fourier transform of it will be M omega plus omega C plus capital M omega minus omega C divided by 2. And the bandwidth of the modulated signal is 2B. So if of message signal was B, then it is now changed to 2B hertz. So that's why double sideband means on positive side also and the negative side also. So earlier the bandwidth was B hertz. B is a constant like A, B, C. So it's a capital B. From above equation we can also say that the modulated carrier spectrum centered at omega C is composed of two parts. A portion that lies above WC and a portion that lies below WC. So the portion that lies above WC is called as upper sideband, and the portion that lies below WC is called as lower sideband. In a similar way, the spectrum centered at minus omega C has upper and lower sidebands. For example, MT equals to cos omega MT. When I'm saying cos omega MT, it's basically M is your subscript here. Then the modulated signal MT into cos omega CT will be equals to, can say cos omega MT, putting it here. And then we are using the trigonometric identities for 2 cos A cos B. So we can say that we are multiplying by 2 and we are dividing it by 2. Okay, so then it will become cos omega C plus omega M T plus cos omega C minus minus omega M T. So the component of frequency omega C plus omega M is the upper sideband, and that of frequency omega C minus omega M is the lower sideband with respect to omega M. It is also clearly visible from our above equation that modulated signal has components of frequencies omega C plus minus omega M. So you can say it has components of frequency omega C plus omega M and omega C minus omega M. It will not be omega M minus omega C. Why? Because the carrier frequency is greater than the modulating signal frequency, and no component of carrier frequency omega C is present. So the original frequency component in carrier signal was omega C. Now it changed to omega C plus minus omega M. So therefore it can be referred to as double sideband suppressed carrier. Why double sideband? One band is above 0, or you can say on the positive hand side. So the second terms of a graph is on the figures. You can say that omega MT is here, cos omega CT is here, and then you are basically modulating it, and there becomes MT cos omega CT. If the signal is of this form and you change it to the frequency domain, then the signal will reflect like this. It will have a spectrum like this with, if the maximum frequency, the signal MT has B, then it will be minus 2 pi B, this will be 2 pi B. This is modulus of the signal when it changes to the frequency domain, means capital M omega, and this graph shows the angle, so it passes through 0 also. Alright, then if we plot it in this way, then basically you can say that you will see that the amplitude will change of what, cos omega ct with respect to mt. So it will be of this form. It goes high, then it comes low, and then slowly low again, and then it repeats itself depending upon your the signal value. So you can see here it's high, so it will go for high part, and then low part it will go for low values. If we take the envelope of it, envelope means the points on the top, so we are drawing this dashed line. Okay, so this form like a fish, and if we change this signal to your frequency domain, so there will be a lower sideband at minus omega c and upper sideband at omega c. Alright, then lower sideband of this is this one and upper sideband is this one. In a similar way, this is upper sideband of this part of the signal and this is lower sideband. This graph is again showing the angle like this one here. Okay, so if we have at the, can say, the receiver side, what we will do, we receive the signal and we multiply it with the same signal which we used for modulation. So you can see we used for modulation cos omega ct. So now for demodulation at the receiver side, we will use cos omega ct. When we will multiply it with, then it will become mt cos square omega ct, means in this area. So it will be mt, you can say, you will apply the trigonometric identity 1 plus cos 2 omega ct divided by 2. So when you will pass it through a low pass filter. Low pass filter means that it will pass only the low frequency component. So cos 2 omega ct is basically high frequency component. So that part will be blocked. So the output will be half mt. Or if in terms of envelope, or you can say the output, it will be of this form. So the DSB SC modulation translate the frequency spectrums by plus minus omega c. To recover the original signal MT from modulated signal, it is required to retranslate the spectrum to its original position. This process is called detection or demodulation. So in demodulation, as I told you, we multiply it with the same signal we used for modulation. In figure C is the figure for demodulation process. Same carrier which is used at the transmitter for modulation is used at the receiver for demodulation. That is MT, as I explained you earlier, MT cos omega ct into cos omega ct. So it will be MT cos square omega ct. This cos omega square ct can be written as 1 plus cos 2 omega ct divided by 2. So you can say that it will be mt plus mt cos 2 omega ct, this is 2 here, divided by 2. And in terms of, if you change it to the frequency domain, then it will be m omega plus 1 by 4 m omega plus 2 omega c plus m omega minus 2c. Here you have to use your signal processing knowledge. Okay, so in signal processing, when we were using your, if you remember that we used duality property, and if we have only one the modulation, sorry, the Fourier transform of delta t is 1, and if you have 1, then the modulation of, sorry, Fourier transform of it will be delta omega, 2 pi delta omega. So if you have cos omega ct, then the Fourier transform of it will be in the form of that shifted version by omega plus omega c and omega minus omega ct. So it's omega c. So it will be in that form. Now, if this signal is passed through a low pass filter centered at low frequency, so in the previous page we were getting half mt, or you can say in angular domain or in the frequency domain it will be half m, capital M omega. A low pass filter allows the desired spectrum m omega to pass and suppresses the unwanted high frequency spectrum allocated at plus minus 2 omega c. The characteristics of a LPF are shown in by dotted line in figure E. Just give a second. This method of receiving at a receiver is called synchronous detection or coherent detection, where we use a carrier of exactly the same frequency and phase as was used for modulation. When omega c is greater than 2 pi b or equals to, for avoiding overlap of m omega plus omega c and capital M omega minus omega c. So in order for to avoid the overlapping of these two signals, this condition must be there. Means you can say the carrier frequency must be greater than or equals to 2 pi b, where b is the maximum bandwidth of the MT. When omega c is less than 2 pi b, the information of MT is lost in the process of modulation, and it is nearly impossible to retrieve MT from MT cos omega ct. The problem associated with suppressed carrier systems needs sophisticated circuitry at the receiver for the purpose of generating a local carrier of exactly the right frequency and phase for synchronous modulation. There might be a question which must be coming to your mind now, that how a receiver knows that what carrier has been used by the transmitter for modulation. Actually, when there is a combination of a transmitter and receiver, then the transmitter and receiver agrees which carrier signal, which frequency, what kind of modulation they are going to use for transmitting and receiving the signal. So if a receiver receives a signal from a particular, can say user, or you can say particular transmitter, then it knows which frequency or which type of signal it requires for demodulation. So exactly the right frequency and phase for synchronous modulation. This is mostly used for point-to-point communication. On the other hand, for a broadcast system with a multitude of receivers for each transmitter, so broadcast system like we have the broadcast from the national TV channels, it is economical to have one expensive high power transmitter and simpler less expensive receivers. For such applications, a large carrier signal is transmitted along with the suppressed carrier modulated signal MT cos omega t, which eliminates the carrier requirement of the generating a loop. The transmitted signal then is it's noted by phi AMT will be equals to MT cos omega ct plus A cos omega ct. You can say basically we are adding A to MT. So because we are changing the amplitude of MT, or you can say we are doing amplitude modulation. So the spectrum of phi AMT is, you need to change it to Fourier transform. It will be m omega c, capital M omega plus omega c plus capital M omega minus omega C. And how it has been done is use this as a separate signal and use this part as a separate signal. So it will be M shifted due to these frequency component. And what is the frequency of this? Omega. And this one has constant amplitude A, so it will come outside. So it will be treated like a impulse function using the duality first. So it's impulse of the Fourier transform of impulse function is 1. So the 1 Fourier transform will be 2 pi delta omega. And then this omega C brings this shifting. Now the other condition is, suppose my MT is of this form, then to ensure the proper AM, we have A plus MT always greater than 0 if we want to detect it properly. So you can say that in this condition then A plus MT is greater than 0. So the amplitude, it is raised by amplitude A. So this signal goes up by an amplitude A, and it will always be above time axis. Then envelope, the envelope will be of this form, that on the positive hand side it will be taking the same form, and you have the these modulations carrier in this form, and this is the envelope of them, positive and negative side. If A plus MT is not greater than 0, then my A plus MT will be this, like this, that it will be coming below time axis. Then you can see that the positive and negative sides will be overlapping each other, and this, the envelope of it will be overlapping each other. So the modulated signal phi AM shown in D. The condition for envelope detection means that you can go around the boundaries and you can detect the original signal. Is A plus MT greater than 0 for all T. Also we can say that capital A is always greater than minus MT minimum, means on the negative side whatever the value of MT is, my capital A must be greater than that. The modulation index mu is defined as mu is equals to minus MT. So we can use it to define a modulation index. Modulation index is basically the value by which we are doing the modulation, means whether I'm making my modulation by 0.5, 0.2, 0.3, means the minus MT minimum divided by A. In this case mu must be less than equals to 1, but if I make my mu greater than 1, then it becomes over modulation, and then there will be some side effects of it, that you will not be able to recover the original signal. The sideband and carrier power. So the advantage of envelope detection in AM has its price. In AM, the carrier term does not carry any information. So we are talking about envelope detection now. So in AM, the carrier term does not carry any information, hence the carrier power is wasted. So when we are using amplitude modulation, we are using carrier to carry our original signal, but we are giving some power to carrier signal, or you can say carrier signal is having most of the power, so by which we are only able to send a little bit or less information in form of MT. So we can say the power which has been given to the carrier signal is wasted because it's not carrying any information. So phi AMT is equals to A cos omega CT. This is carrier, and these are your signals you are sending. MT you are sending, and it's going with the help of omega cos omega CT. So this part is basically your carrier, it's wasted. So the carrier power PC is mean square value of A cos omega CT, which is A square by 2. A square is the maximum amplitude of carrier signal. The sideband power PS is the mean square value of MT cos omega CT. So we can write it in this form. This term denotes your mean square value of MT. So the total power is PT is equals to PC plus PS, you can write it in this form, add these two terms. The percentage of total power carried by sidebands is eta, given by PS divided by PT into 100 in terms of percentage. So this is a percentage of total power carried by sidebands. So it will be m square T, mean square value, divided by A square plus mean square value of M. So for a special case of tone modulation, we are just using a particular tone to modulate. Then mt, suppose mt is equals to mu A cos omega mt, then m square T, mean square value will be equals to mu A square divided by 2. This is, the bracket is not on 2, so it will be, then it will be equals to mu square divided by 2 plus mu square. Mu, if mu is less than 1, then n max is equals to 2 plus 1. So maximum value you can get is 1, so it's 2 plus 1. When you will put these values 1 here and 2 plus 1, so it will be 33%. So this means under the best conditions, only a third of the transmitter, or can say 1/3 of the transmitter power carries the information. You can try these questions yourself. Okay, thank you.